Hello everyone and welcome to this Excel tutorial part 3. This Excel tutorial is going to be mainly focused on VLOOKUPs and pivot tables. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2 already, I highly suggest that you should watch it because part 1 goes through the whole layout and everything you can't do in Excel. Part 2 is around the aggregated functions, and then now part 3 is going to be mainly VLOOKUPs and pivot tables, which are very important to use in Excel. If you want to download, I will be using this file now to use VLOOKUPs and pivot tables. If you want to download this file, you can go to, I'm going to have a link in the description, so which is going to take you to my GitHub repository, so you can download the Excel tutorial Data 360 YP part 3. This video is part 3, so please download part 3. Right, so going back to Excel. So the first thing we have to do now is that we need to copy the Excel sheet over into a new one. So I'm just going to show you how to copy the whole Excel sheet, basically duplicate the whole Excel sheet. So if we right click here where it says start here and click or move or copy, we can create a copy. So click on create a copy and then we want to move it to the end. So this is basically asking you where to put this copy, and then I click OK. And now you can see I have exactly the same. So if I move it in between, so start here and start here too, they have exactly the same data. So I'm just gonna rename this as part 3, which is this video. And what we have to do in the instructions is that we have to clean the area so we can perform the lookups. So what do I say by that? I'm gonna just select everything from this row 12 and under, which is the totals. And I'm just going to press delete. You've seen delete did not delete the grid line, so if we right click here and click delete, it's going to remove everything. We also want to remove the title that we put here, the heading, because we want the data when we create pivot tables to start from our columns. So I can either select it and set pivot table, but I'm just going to clean everything so we have everything clean. Right. So the first thing we want to do now is that we want to insert new columns. We want to bring the month, the managers, the segment. We also maybe want to bring the account name because we only have the account number here. So we need to use a VLOOKUP. So a VLOOKUP basically matches one value to another value on a different place or on the same place to get a third value. So I'm going to start with the account name. Here we have the account number, and I'm going to right click here, insert a new column, and name this new column as account name. And this account name now we have to VLOOKUP it from our lookup calendar. But where is our calendar? So if we go down here and click right click and click unhide, we can see that we have three Excel sheets that are hidden, so that we can't see them here. So one of them is the account calendar. So the account lookup, what am I saying? Not the calendar. So if I click OK, so now this IP account lookup all this time was hidden under Excel here. So you can see we can hide it again, right click hide, it goes away. So now I'm just unhiding this because I want to see it, account lookup. And here is where I can see the account name. So obviously this is dummy data, don't expect any famous or any known names. It's just dummy data. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to use part 3. I'm going to use this number to match with this number, because like here we have on these two columns we have account numbers to get the account name. So how do we do that? Let me just move the structures out of the way. So we have part 3. I'm going to hide the start here because I'm not going to be using this. Right, so now it's much cleaner. So the way to do it now is I say equals, and I say VLOOKUP, and then I open brackets. I want to look for this value, so this account number, comma. Now I have to select the table array, so the range that I want to look for that number. So now I click on the IPI account lookup, and I want to look between column A and B. So my array, if I click, I can either manually select it or I can literally select the whole columns A and B. So I'm going to use column A to match it, and B is going to be my return value. Remember, you always have in my return, if my return value was down here in Industry Manager, I will have to select the whole column and then just say indicate the number of the column that I want to be returned. But now I'm only using two columns, so I'm just going to select these two columns, then click comma. I want to return. Now here is where we column index number. So this is where we need to specify which column we need to return. So I want the return to be column 2. Remember, this is column 1. Now this is column 2. And then comma, the third thing is going to be if I want an approximate match or if I want an exact match. So I want an exact match, so I can either click it to say false and click enter, either put 0. 0 is basically an exact match. So basically true, I can use 1 there, or false, I can use 0. 0 is easier to type in than false, so I always click 0 because I want the exact match. If you want an approximate match, again, you can use 1. Some cases they don't match exactly, so you have to use 1. Right, so we can see that the account name now, so it went on and found this value from column A and found out that the account name is the Megamia. So if I quickly copy this, Control C, then I go down here, select the whole column and click Control F, which is find, and then Control V to search for this account number, and click find next. We can straight away finds this account, and you can see that the account name for this account is Megamia, which is what we brought in here. So I'm just demonstrating how the VLOOKUP works. If I just double click this now, it's going to repeat the same process for every single account number, or I can just drag it in manually. It's literally the same thing. Right. The next thing we want to add now is we want to bring the managers and the segment and then the month. So we create a new column, which is going to be, what kind of managers do we have? Scroll at the top, we have account segment, account manager. So this is going to be the account, the segment, let's say, and then the manager. Insert, manage. I'm just demonstrating how to do VLOOKUPs now, how to join two different data sets together. So equals VLOOKUP. I just wanted to say something about SQL there, but I'm not going to say. So we select this account number, and then we say comma. This is the segment, remember, so I have to select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because segment is column number 5. Then comma, then I say 5, and then comma, I say 0 because I want an exact match. Then I close the brackets, click enter, and now we have the segment. Double click here so it scrolls all the way down. Now I want to do the same thing for manager, so I say equals VLOOKUP, open brackets. I want to search this number, comma, into this. So the account manager now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, each time I'm dragging it, you see where it says 2C, then 3C, 4C, 5C, 6C. It's easier to, if you have like 17, 18, or even more than 20 columns, you can just see that number that it says there, and you know what you're going to put after comma. Because now I think it was 6. Let's check it was 6. Yeah, it was 6, the account manager. Cool. So now I've added account name, segment, and manager just by using the account number. The next thing we want to add now is that we want to use the estimated completion month ID to get the actual month, because this number corresponds to a month. So I'm just going to right click here and unhide, and I want to see my calendar, IPI calendar, and I want to find the month ID. Where is month ID? There we go, month ID, and I want to take the fiscal month based on the month ID. So here I have a lot of calendar data, which we're not going to use. We're only going to use the month ID and the fiscal month. So I go back here, I create a new column. So right click, new column, and I'm going to name this as fiscal month. Click enter, and I want to say equals VLOOKUP open brackets. I want to VLOOKUP this number, comma. I go to my calendar, and then I select the columns I need, which is going to be starts from month ID. So this is 1, 0. Sorry, starts from 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see 4C at the top. Then I close comma. I want column number 4, and then comma 0 because I want an exact match. Why if I put 1? Oh no, it's always true. So 0, yeah, it's an exact match. Close bracket, click enter, so I can see this month ID signifies July 2019. So I double click here, so you can see all of them are in 2019 in the future, because this is future IDs, future months. Yeah, future months IDs. Right. So we have finished with the VLOOKUPs. So if we go back to instructions, the next thing we want to show now is how do we concatenate data together. So assuming that I want to concatenate segment and manager in one single column. So what I can do is I can right click here and click insert, and I'm just going to say this column is going to be called segment plus manager combine. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So to put two columns together, there is multiple ways of doing it. The first one is that you can say equals concat, which is basically concatenate. And I want to concatenate this one, comma, this one. Or I can either drag it as it is, like this, these two together. Close it, click enter, and then you can see it left no space. It literally combined them together. To leave some space, it's best if we do equals concat, and then I select the first one, comma, empty space. So I'm creating this, oops, what have I done? Empty space, so I'm creating this empty space, then comma again, and then this manager here. I've added too many brackets, so I want to correct it myself. Click enter, and now as you can see, we have the segment first, SMB, and then the manager alias. So this is alias, so this is a code. Right. So there is another way to do it. You can either double click here and it's gonna concatenate them together. You can add more columns if you want. Another way of doing this is by saying equals. Let me see if I remember this correctly. We can say this, and then we can put end, and then we leave empty space, and then we can put end, and then we can put this. Click enter. Yeah, it works again. So this is another way of doing the concatenation. You can either use the formula, you can do it manually, it's up to you. Right, so the next thing we're going to do now, we've done instructions, so we've done concatenate, we've done the VLOOKUPs, is that we have to start with the pivot tables. Right, let's hide the lookups now. So the beauty of this hiding is that we don't need to see this the calendar lookup or the manager lookup. So you can see now we brought the data we need, but that data sits at the back end, so we don't need to see it here at the front. Right, so pivot tables now. I'm just going to show you straight away how to create a pivot table and then try to explain what it is. So first of all, we want to select the data we want to pivot. So I'm just selecting all of our data, and then we want to go to insert and click here where it says pivot table. This is asking us first to select the range. So we have already selected the range. So you can see those dotted moving lines. That's the range. And here is asking us if you want me to create a pivot table in a new worksheet or in an existing worksheet. The new worksheet is basically, if I click OK, it's going to create a new sheet down here, an Excel sheet, and it's going to have the table. Or I can either click existing worksheet and then click somewhere. Where do I want this to be? So I want it to be on this existing worksheet, and I want it to be here. So you can see that if I click OK, it's going to create the pivot table down here. However, I want it to be on a new worksheet just because we want to show a few things. So we click OK. Now we have a pivot table, which looks like this. Not much, it's not looking much, is it? Right, so what we need to notice, the first thing is that all of our column names are here now. So literally all of these column names, all of them exist in the pivot table down here. So the first thing we want to show is the rows. So if I drag in the account names now, down here in the rows, we can see all the account names. So you can see these are the account names, all the account names that we have here, account name. The second thing we want to show now is the values. So if I drag now the revenue into values, and then I make this revenue as dollars, which I've shown you how to do this on part 1, I think, we can see the revenue by account, right? Which is basically the account here, and then the revenue over, where is it, here, which is nothing new. We can literally hide all these. So let me show you. Right click, hide, and then we have account and revenue next to each other. Let me undo this. The beauty of it now is that I can slice the data by, if I want to add the filter here at the top, let's say segment, I only want to see the accounts that are in segment SMB. So I put the segment on filters, and I click on the drop down menu and say click on SMB, click OK, and I can see now that the revenue for these two accounts, which again we could either do it this way. The revenue, where is it, where is the segment, close the segment, click on SMB, and again nothing new. It's the same accounts, again the same data, it's just a bit more consolidated on a pivot table. Now the beauty of the pivot table is that, I'm going to remove this SMB now, is that I can use the columns too. So if I drag fiscal month now into columns, I can see the fiscal month by account. Sorry, I can see the account's revenue by fiscal month, which we don't have this sort of pivoting down here. Our fiscal months are on a vertical row, but here I'm categorizing them at the top. So another way of categorizing your data is, let's say you want to see the account name by, let's select something else, maybe the priority opportunities. So we can see the yeses and the nos. So you remember where we created the priority opportunity down here by using an if statement. Where is it? Priority opportunities. Now we can put that priority opportunity into the columns, the columns, and create a pivot table that has the amount of revenue we have in priority opportunities here, and the amount of revenue you have by non-priority opportunities here by account. Additionally, I can also add the month next to the account here. If I drag, let me go to view, remove the grid lines, and then I'm going to be doing things on new pivot tables as we go on, so you can understand it better, because I don't want to be using the same pivot table and keep changing it. So the first thing I think we should show here is, I'm going to remove the priority opportunities, is that we can have the accounts, we can have the revenue, we can add the volume, and we can add the opportunity next to each other, right? All of them. So the volume is not a value, so we should make it as volume, as a number, and then maybe, yeah, like that. Right, I'm going to put this yellow line here as separation, and copy now. I can Control C, Control V, the pivot, the pivot table. So I copy and paste it. Now I can change. Assuming now I want to see the account, and next to the account I want to see the estimated month, the fiscal month that the opportunities are going to land. So what I can do is I can go on and find fiscal month and drag it under account name. So what this did, it basically created subtotals. So this is the account and this is the month that the opportunity is going to land. However, it doesn't look nice like this. So what we can do is that we can go to design, and here on the report layout, we can select show in tabular form. So now we have the account and the fiscal month next to each other, and then we can go to subtotals and click on to not show subtotals. So now we can clearly see the account, the fiscal month next to it, and then the sum of the revenue, opportunity, and volume next to it. And something else we can do is that, assuming we want to see the, if we go back to part 3, we can see that the opportunity stage, we have multiple opportunities within each stage, and we want to create a pie chart that has the total value of opportunity per stage. So the way to do this, we can copy our whole pivot table again, put it here, paste it here, Control C, Control V. We want to remove the account name and the fiscal month, the segment. We want to add the opportunity stage here, and we only want to keep the opportunity value. So now we have the value by each stage in our opportunities. We can see that the value of each opportunity within each stage. So we can see that we are missing stage 3 here, so we don't have any opportunities in stage 3, but that's because we're only using a subset of the whole data. So now what I can do is that I can go to insert, and I can go to recommended charts, and I can add a pie chart, click OK, and have a pie chart that gets the data now from this pivot table. And the beauty of this now is that we can click on the pivot table, go to pivot table analyze, and insert slices. So I can add the segment as a slicer, or the fiscal, maybe not the month, maybe the product category, click OK. Now, because this is a pivot table and all the data is connected with all the data, I can simply click on SMB, and I can see the split. That's SMB only has stage 2 opportunities. I can click on public sector, and I can see the split on public sector in terms of stages, in terms of value per stage. I can even do the same by product. I can click the products, so I can use multiple filters on the same pivot table. I can unfilter everything and check if labor, project, services, support, where the stages they have in each, the value they have in each stage. So you can see that by using pivot tables, it helps you enable you an additional breakdown functionality where everything is connected with each other, and you can further slice the data. You can view the data as you want. Another example we can add is maybe you want to, let's copy this, paste it here. Maybe we want to see the opportunity estimated value by fiscal month. So I remove this and add fiscal month, and then I go to insert and I add a line graph, so recommended graphs, and I want to add a line graph. Click OK. They are not in order because this is just a character. So what we can do is that we can add the ID, so estimated month ID, which I don't see it here. Where is it? There we go, estimated month ID. And now you can see everything is in order now. April, May, July, September, October, November. I can even add another value down here, which is going to be, obviously we're not going to have revenue and volume because this is what we will have, but this is future. And I can even go click on the graph, right click, go to select, change chart type. I can do a combo, go down to combo, and I can have the revenue as, I want the revenue as a bar and the opportunity as a line. Click OK. I want to right click here and hide all field buttons, so I have a cleaner table. Maybe move this down, make this a bit bigger. There we go. And now I can add my slicers, which is, again, it can be segment, it can be any slicer that I want to use. If I want to, if I go to pivot table analyze, insert slicer, and I want to add the manager and the segment, let's say, I can even go down to account and I can select different slicers, and it's going to slice the data in different ways. As you can see, it changes the graph over here too, because it's the same pivot table and everything is connected. If you want to keep the same data set but not connect the pivot tables together, you can click on the pivot table and go to pivot table analyze, and here when it says filter connections, here is each pivot table has a name, so I can remove all these connections, and this pivot table now is going to stand alone. I don't want to do that for now because I want them to be connected. I can either do it from the slicer perspective. So I can click on the slicer, go to slicer, report connections, and I can select the pivot tables that I want this slicer to be connected. So obviously it's just connected on pivot table 5, which I assume this is pivot table 5. If I click on the pivot table and go to design, there we go, pivot table analyze, I can see that this is pivot table 5. I can even rename the pivot table if I want, so I keep things in order. Right, so I hope you gain a good understanding of why we use pivot tables and the way you can turn your columns into all the take your columns and put them here, and then you can slice and dice the data as you want, and then you can use filters and slicers on top of it to make it more functional. Right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you felt that you got any value out of it, please click that like button and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please let me know below. If you have any other subjects you want me to cover, please let me know below. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.